My love for maths started as far back as my primary school days. For me, maths is like playing computer games. I remember solving all the maths problems in MO or DIACA for the preparation of my common entrance. My mom was proud of me. She only gets worried when I'm so much engrossed in a kind of computer game that I forget to take my lunch or dinner in time. I also love challenges. And I remember this incident in our class when all of us got stuck to a particular maths problem, including my maths teacher. I believe it's this kind of questions that the examiner inserts just to make sure that even the brightest student doesn't get a perfect score. But because I love challenges, I didn't give up. I took that problem to my dad. I think that was the first time I was taking a problem to him. And I was impressed the next morning when he handed a piece of paper to me with the solution. I think I inherited my persistence and curiosity from him. My love for maths metamorphosed into love for computers. And I was lucky to get access to computer as early as when I was 11 years old. I remember those early mornings when we used to bump into our uncle's room to play games on his computer. And naturally, as kids, games was one of our favorites. And eventually, we broke the spacebar on his keyboard while playing Shadow Knights, the enemies. I wish I had his kind of patience. I'm also fortunate to learn programming at a very early age. At around 12 years old, my elder brother, Saad, was already writing some computer programs. He's older than me by 2.5 years old. I see him writing some little programs in QBasic, and eventually I realized that with programming, I can also write my own games and some kind of programs. But what I wanted to do with programming dawned on me when I just finished my JSS3. And during that vacation, I saw a little program written in QBasic. And that program accepts inputs of scores of students and computes the total and average and generates report sheet for them. Thanks to my uncle again, Engineer Aziz, because that program was written by my brother Saad, and I had to write it because my uncle gave them the assignment before he would take them out for swimming and get some ice cream. This story is also connected to my school around that time. Our computer department tried to computerize our result then, but somehow the project didn't work. And then, with that little experience of programming and the enormous challenge that I see our teachers going through trying to compute our results, I realized that this is something I could actually do. And that program is the genesis of FlexiServe. Today, we have helped over 400 schools to computerize their results. And with about 70 staff in FlexiServe who are passionate to transform education in Nigeria and beyond. Even though I really loved maths, I didn't become a mathematician. Neither did I study computer science. But what I learned in those early years was the value of education and the ability to learn and continue learning forever. At the age of around 3 to 4, my elder sister, who was just 8 years old, was my first teacher. In her well-organized home school, she had 2 pupils, myself and my twin sister. Patrick Awuah, the founder of Ashes University, emphasizes the importance of lifelong learning. And he says during the WISE conference 2017 in Doha that the most important thing for students is to learn how to learn and continue learning forever. But this is my story, and Maxwell Gladwell describes us as the outliers. I was fortunate to come from a family that really values education. I was lucky to gain access to computers in those early years. I was also lucky to understand the importance of learning and to continue learning forever. And I was also lucky to see that simple program that became the genesis of FlexiServe. But what about the stories of millions of kids out there whose future looks too bleak? To explain the enormity of this problem, I'll mention a few. The first one is access to education. There are over 360 million out-of-school children globally, and Nigeria has the highest number with 10.5 million of them. But of course, this is what is on the paper. The second challenge is quality of education, and this is far more important than even the first one. There are over 600 young people, as estimated by UNESCO, that go to school but are lacking basic skills. Six out of 10 children are in school but not learning. There are also 88% of children and adolescents in sub-Saharan Africa that will enter adulthood without a basic proficiency in literacy. The problem is much bigger in Africa. And this problem is not unconnected to the problem of unemployment in Nigeria. The third challenge is mastery learning. And this exists in our school. What you have currently in our traditional model is you have these gaps of knowledge that keeps accumulating, that haunts the children forever. So for us to solve these challenges, we really have to redefine education. We need the kind of education that will really give solid foundation in numeracy and literacy. The kind of education that can spark curiosity. The kind of education that will teach kids the ability to learn and keep learning forever. And a system that will provide opportunity for everyone without any exception, for everyone to become an outlier. I would like to tell you the story of Aminu Umar. My primary school friend and a long-term friend, Abu Bakr Umar, met Aminu in 2015. While sending him on errands, he noticed Aminu was really a good boy and very honest. And he did the bravest thing ever. he started teaching Aminu the alphabet. And with homeschooling of about 6 months, Aminu was able to write his common entrance exam and passed in one attempt. With the consent of his dad and Malam, Aminu enrolled into JS1. And he has been doing very well. And Aminu is now in JSS2. But this is the story of Aminu. What about the story of 7 million of such of them on the streets? But we simply call them the Almajiris. This is really the big task at hand that we really have to solve. And unless we do that, unless we consciously create opportunities for the vulnerable and the less privileged to become outliers, then we can never be at peace. Our dream to have access to healthcare and reduce mortality rates, our hope to have a secure nation, our desire to have a vibrant economy and good standard of living will always remain a mirage if we don't solve this problem. And that's what we are trying to do in Flexicap Foundation.